What are we doing? What was that? That'd be pretty quick.
223.
Got time to make pickles.
Buck holding that lineup to 3 runs over 20 innings.
Yeah, that's really hard, and you're glad to see him leave town because someone's going to pay. But our guys did a great job against him the last 2 nights, 2 days, night. We need it because Hap's really good. I think. I know we know in the division how good he is and how strong their starting pitching is. There's such a small margin of error there. So Adam had a big hit. That's some pretty select company he's getting into in Oriole home runs. You look at the 4 guys ahead of him, that's some sacred ground.
Bundy was getting a lot of outs with the kind of secondary stuff, the slider, cutter, whatever. Was that one of the more impressive aspects of his outing to you?
Well, last year, without broadcasting a lot of it, they haven't seen much of him. You look through the matchups, there wasn't much there, so there was a little bit of potential for ambush factor early in the game, but he kept them as much as he could off balance, and they had to honor all his pitches. And we talk a lot about 1 command of 1 to compete, 2 to win, 3 to, I don't want to say dominate, but that's when you give them 3 different looks and they have to honor 3 pitches, really 4 tonight. That really, you like your chances.
How certain were you all along you were going to go with him into the 7th? I mean,
how certain was I?
Yeah.
No, we considered it. I considered taking him out after 6, but we were going. Brad. We wouldn't let him face the go-ahead run. Just see how he felt. He had a pretty stressful last out. That was a pretty impressive battle with him and Morales, was it? And he won it. A lot of time guys finish their tank up there, but so we were going hitter to hitter with him next inning.
Well, Dylan was impressive last year, but what did he show you in this performance that maybe might have been different and maybe showed that he made perhaps the next step?
Well, this was Dylan for his first 7 or 8 starts for us. I mean, this guy, when we brought him in after the All-Star break, it wasn't a whole lot different what you saw tonight. He just, he's featuring a little different look, a little different shape on some pitches that he didn't last year. Another example of being able to kind of take some of the governors off of him and letting. And I thought Wellington's showed a really good imagination last 2 days. That's one good catcher's. When you got a pitcher that allows you to do that, and he had a lot of fingers at his disposal tonight to put down. But that's why you saw a good tempo, not much shake off, and there were a lot of. I thought Wellington's last 2 days night has been really good. It's been impressive catching a lot of guys that. He spent a lot of time with these guys in the spring, a lot of it on his part, and I think he really got their respect by how much he went out of the way to try to get a feel for them.
You talk all the time about how spring training is such a big fooler, and last week when Bundy had his last start, he gave up 3 home runs, and you said, well, only one of them.
Yeah,
when you look at the Bundy you see down there, and then you see up here, what's the difference?
Very similar. Very similar. Same. If you throw away what is going on the field, as far as results, I watch his work days while we stay back before we make trips. I watch his face, his body language. He was feeling good about himself. His arm, shoulder, his body felt good, and there's no reason to think anything else. If you're going to, base everything on results down there in statistics, you're going to make a lot of mistakes.
How does having that extra pitch help him once he sees the lineup's already seen him twice, gets deeper into games like that?
Well, it's not going to be any secret. It's there for him. We'll see if how he feels as the season goes on, if it affects him at all physically. But so far so good. He used it in the spring, and his work days went well after. I'll be curious. He's going to get an extra day next time out. Be curious to see how he feels on his work day, if there's any residual from it. But it's something that certainly puts his repertoire at a real challenge for hitters when he's able to carry all those pitches.
Was that an important part of the process of learning your new catcher, your new pitching coach when Roger went out there? I mean, neither of them have a great deal of experience with Zach.
One thing one thing you find with pitching coaches, Roger's been real impressive with, he's not afraid to make a visit in crunch time. And, I've had some real good ones that were the same way. And, it's another way you kind of put yourself on the line. And, it's his pitching staff, and I'm just trying to take care of it. And, if he feels something, just like we tell the players, you got to go for it. But, it's like get a double play ball after a visit, everybody in the dugout. And there's nothing worse than going to make a visit before you sit back down, there's a ball leaving the park. We've been on both sides of that.
Buck, obviously Bundy, first inning was pretty impressive, overpowering them in the first inning. But is the Morales at bat in the sixth inning when he's pushing 90 pitches and he goes 8 or 9 pitches in that at bat, does that say something about his makeup?
Well, it reaffirms what we already thought. It's not something all of a sudden there's a moment. It's, he knows what that means. And, sometimes those battles, if you win them, is even more of a confidence builder, because a lot of people, I made a lot of good pitches and he fouled them off. I end up walking him or base hit, but boy, look what I got to get to that point. No, Dylan wants to win the end of the battle. He doesn't, being competitive isn't good enough for him, and that's the way all our guys feel. I'll tell you, we got a lot of guys there that want to win the battle, not compete well through the battle.
Were you impressed by the Pilar catch?
Pardon?
The Pilar catch, were you impressed?
Oh yeah. I'm seeing it a lot. That's why he's all in contention for the Gold Glove, and it's one of the things that they really took a step forward a couple of years ago when they really brought in Tulowitzki and Pilar, and Goins playing some second, Travis now. They really kind of made a change in some of their looks and became a really good defensive club, and he's a part of that.
The end result was there again for Zach. What do you want him to take out of these 2 long outings he's had?
I love the fact that that he found a way to get it done. I mean, it's hard. I just got a call from my wife after the game. She goes, "Whew!" And I said, "It's hard. The ninth inning is hard. You're facing one of the best parts of a lineup anywhere in the American League. It's hard." He gives up a sharp hit ball to left field and ground ball found a hole and a walk, got a big strikeout on Tulowitzki, and he's always a pitch away from getting 2 outs. Having JJ and John, that's not an easy ball to turn. John really sped it up. So a lot of good things happen tonight, but I'd rather see a way to get through that. And it's not always as easy as it may seem. It's a different inning. And not just anybody can pitch it.
Well, we hear the term fastball command a lot. Is there such a thing as slider command? I mean, that seemed like that might have been a pretty big issue today.
Like I said, it'd be interesting to see next time they see him. I think he catches them next time. But you don't do it for that long a period. You watch him after the first inning talking over there about a pitch they haven't seen and kind of. But he has so many other things that if you're just sitting on one pitch, he's going to get you. But there's a lot of guys that are wild in the strike zone. It's one thing that, command and control. There's a big difference in command and control. A lot of guys can throw the fastball over the plate, but they throw it in the wrong quadrant. So, when Gus says you got good command or you got good control, control shows up in a stat sheet and people look at it and say he doesn't walk many people, but he's got a big ERA and hits the innings. That's because he doesn't have command. He's got control, but he doesn't have command.
His location tonight was, there were almost no pitches that wouldn't at least tempt you to hit the ball.
Wouldn't tempt you to call it a strike. And same way with Hap. Hap was really good. Really good. It's one of those things they talk about, this framing. Okay? It's not framing, it's presentation. And their guy, and our guy too, but their guy's as good as it gets. And it's not, umpires make a decision on ball or strike before the ball's caught. They make a decision, ball or strike, before it's caught. They don't go, boom, the ball hits the mitt, and they turn around and see how you caught it. They don't do that. Watch the game. Okay? It's about presentation of the pitches. It's not, you start doing this to umpires and framing them, that's a complete misrepresentation of that. It's about the way you present the ball. It's like when the ball he called strike 3 on JJ, he's trying to throw that ball up, and the ball looked terrible, but if you look back through the actual replay of the pitch, it's a borderline strike, but the presentation of it was terrible. So that umpire made the decision that ball was a strike, not by how he caught it. But how, you know, you got me going on that. You know, this whole framing thing, it's great, but it's presentation. It's not framing. If you go out there framing, all these guys who are considered great framers, they seem to be looking for a different club every year. Thank you for letting me say that.